This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the 3D Security and Training Academy studios.
Of course Obama's deal is insane to anyone but Iranian regime sympathizers. It's betrayal of U.S. hostages. He left them behind.
Patriotic Americans like Sarah Palin are fighting back against an awful Iran nukes deal being pushed down our throats by Obama and friends. Now, our very own Sarah Steelman is taking on a major role to stop Iran from hurting the U.S., Israel, and others. You hear Sarah Steelman every week right here during Steel Resolve. But today, along with her commentary, she'll also join us for an interview to talk about the new group she's chairing called Defund Iran. Stay tuned for this important discussion. Sarah Palin speaks out about the ridiculous clock bomb kids saga. A brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman in Missouri. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by 3D Security and Training Academy. Learn more at 3dsta.com. Now, we welcome in a great friend. She is Sarah Steelman, and you hear her right here on the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio each and every week with her great commentary, Steel Resolve, where she talks about a myriad of issues, obviously a lot of them having to do with economics, her strong suit, as she is the former treasurer of the great state of Missouri. And Sarah Steelman, we get to hear her each and every week, but it's nice to talk to her again on the air here on the program. Sarah, welcome back to the Palin Update. How are you?
I'm fine, Kevin, and it's great to talk to you, too, as opposed to you just listening to me.
Well, you've had some great stuff for us. It's so much appreciated what you do here each and every week, and I know the listeners certainly feel that way. And, you know, we talk about what your wheelhouse is, and that's certainly economics with your background. But we also know that, you know, you're well-versed on pretty much everything, and that's why Governor Palin endorsed you for your Senate run a few years back, a race that you obviously were the best candidate, and if not for that whole Aiken nonsense and everything else that went down, we'd have you in the Senate right now instead of Claire McCaskill. So, you know, that's a pie-in-the-sky pipe dream that we all think about. I tell you, I certainly do, but you were clearly the most qualified candidate there. And you know, people think about your economic background, which is so diverse and broad, and you know, if people listen to your commentaries here, they hear all of the things you've done. You've been in the Wall Street Journal recently, and all the things you've talked about. But right now, you're in a group that has something to do with economics, because you know, that's where you have to hit some people sometime in order to make them listen. And it's called Defund Iran, and I want to talk to you about that. You know, Governor Palin just recently spoke in Washington D.C. with Donald Trump and Ted Cruz in the anti-Iran nukes rally. Let me ask you first, what is Defund Iran and what is your role in it? Let's talk about that and why it's so important to you to get involved.
Well, Defund Iran actually kind of came about as a result of that Wall Street Journal article you're referring to, which talked about the fact that there's a paragraph in the Iranian nuclear agreement that instructs the president to use all federal authorities at his disposal to make sure that states do not enforce their divestment laws. Now, these divestment laws were put in place over a period of time. We were the first in the country to do it in Missouri when I was state treasurer back in 2006. And what they say basically is that there will be no taxpayer dollars invested in companies that do business with state sponsors of terror. So, in other words, most normal people in this country don't want their taxpayer dollars helping the Iranian government or the Syrian government, because we know these guys are our enemies, and they're the ones who help fund weapons that kill our soldiers. So it was just completely outrageous and remarkable and shocking, frankly, Kevin, shocking that this paragraph turned up in the agreement, and now, you know, the Democrats have voted on it, and basically it is allowing the Ayatollah Khomeini to tell the president what to do with states. It's instructing states that they cannot follow their divestment laws. So a bunch of us kind of got together who have put these divestment laws in place around the country. And so I'm the chairman of the national chairman of Defund Iran, and then I have two co-chairs. One is a former state rep from Colorado and also an Iraqi vet named Mark Waller. The other is current state treasurer Josh Mandel from Ohio. And we announced, I guess it's been a couple weeks ago now, our organization called Defund Iran. And we announced the first 5 states who are going to put on their ballot and as initiatives in the 2016 election language that actually puts into state constitutions that no taxpayer dollars will go to help countries who are state sponsors of terror. So we're going to strengthen these laws that exist today by putting it in the state constitution and giving people a chance to actually vote on it.
Yeah, novel concept there, right? And try to not worry about executive orders and things of that nature. I think people get so discouraged now. They say, well, why is, 2, 3, 4, 5 people deciding the fate of Americans in these very crucial times? Let me ask you this. As this deal went down, the Obama situation and pushing this Iran deal, what got you so passionate about it? Why is this such a top issue for you and to have such a major role in this group?
To me, the Iranian this agreement is extremely dangerous. I'm sure you probably discussed that on the show before, and we've heard Governor Palin talk about it, and we know that Iran is the number one sponsor of terror in the world, and we're giving them $150 billion as a cash bonus of this agreement, and it's just infuriating. So, I mean, that's one reason why I started back in 2006 this divestment of taxpayer money, because we don't want any taxpayer dollar, not $1, going to help the country of Iran buy bombs that are going to come back and hurt our soldiers. I mean, if you follow the money, that is what happens. And I think what you said about people feeling frustrated about not having any control over their government and worried about the national security of our country, Defund Iran will empower people because they can actually go and vote and say, no, I don't want my tax dollars going to help Iran. And the individual states in this country can stand up together and try to shut down this agreement.
What's been the response so far, and how can people get involved, and what is it they would do once involved? What do you want from actual citizens?
You want to find out more information, we have a website called defundiran.com. And what we want from individual citizens is for them to reach out in their own states, talk to their legislators, their state senators, and if they don't know about this, tell them about it. But if not, tell them that you support divesting the taxpayer dollars from Iran. I mean, that in itself, I think, is where the groundswell of people voicing their opinions to their own state legislators, and that's a lot easier to do, as you know, than trying to work in Washington. All they do out there is talk anyway. They never do anything. This is one reason why I'm pretty adamant about Defund Iran, because it is doing something about this agreement. It's actually doing something. It's saying, no, we're not going to allow this in the States. And so it's cutting money off. It's still keeping and preventing money from going to Iran. And some say, oh, that's not going to matter. It's just going to be a drop in the bucket because it's just, from states and there's not that much money. Well, the state of Florida, for example, the CFO down there estimates that from their existing divestment laws, they have stopped about $1.5 billion from going to Iran. Now, that's one state. So when you add up all the states together, it can be a serious amount of money. And the other thing is, if it wasn't hurting Iran to begin with, nobody would have wanted that paragraph in the agreement. It wouldn't have mattered, right? So it is. It's having an effect.